to the LTH product briefing. I'm here today with Kevin Walker, the CEO and founder of Centari. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, Nikki, good to see you.
Good to see you too. And I'm really delighted actually to have you here showcasing Centari, which is a very exciting new product on the market. Can you tell us a little bit about Centari, when it was launched, and what problem it solves for the legal industry?
Sure. Centari was founded by me and my co-founder, Brian. Brian's our CTO. We partnered up over a year ago, so I'd say early 2023, to tackle the application of AI to the legal industry. So my background is from the transactional side. So I worked at Paul Hastings as an M&A lawyer, and went in-house as the GC of a startup, and then later as the deputy GC of a real estate fund. So always was in the world of deal making and transactional work. And I think the first problem that Brian and I set out to solve together was information retrieval. So if you think about the work of a lawyer who's doing a lot of deals, it's all accessing information, interpreting information, finding precedent. So I remember I did this deal a few years ago. I can't remember, it was project something. It was across from Latham. I just can't remember. It contained this weird earnout. So being able to retrieve that type of information, or you're negotiating a particular deal point, you need to know what's market for that deal point. Transactional lawyers do this all day long, and it was a very close to my heart as a pain point to solve. But when we started to get into it, we realized that the more fundamental problem was a data problem. So firms have this information. It was all in their DMS, existing within the firm somewhere, but in an unstructured format. So transactional documents have rich intelligence, but the key is to be able to get them out at scale. And we realized that a lot of firms were doing this in a very manual way with deal sheets, and some firms are very famous for this. They've gained a competitive advantage by structuring their data, albeit manually. So having associates populate deal sheets when they close a transaction takes many hours. It's typically non-billable. So we realized that, started to play around with the product that we were building and with the models, and realized that we can solve this problem really well with the application of applied legal research. So taking knowledge that primarily initially that I had, and now that more members of our team have, and combining that with these models to extract data from documents. And this is the core of what we do. We call it Deal Intelligence, and we're building this for a growing number of large firms and helping them with their data strategy.
Fantastic. I think that's a really important problem to solve for firms. Why don't we jump in and take a look at how Centari is doing that?
Great. Let me share my screen. I'm going to go into our workspace. All right. Can you see this?
I can.
Awesome. So this is a fictional firm that we created called Sagman Bennett, which is a deep 1990s reference for any Seinfeld fans, but I'll just put that there. So we've taken 20 public company M&A deals in this demo environment, and we have extracted data from these deals. And we modeled our data taxonomy here off the ABA M&A survey, in this case for public company. So we've extracted dozens of complex deal points from all 20 of these documents, all 20 of these merger agreements. So let me click into one as an example. So I'm going to go into, say, Merck right here. So this is a good example. So everything from very high level information about which firms were involved in this deal. This is a Covington deal. And as I click into these deal points, it takes me to the specific part of the agreement that our model has gone in and extracted information from, to very nuanced information about the fiduciary exceptions in this transaction. And as I click into a nuanced deal point like this, same thing, takes me to the language in the document that the model has gone in, reasoned over, and delivered an answer from. You can even click through if it came from multiple parts of the document. You can see multiple citations. So we have this workflow that allows attorneys to perform what was once a fully manual task and augment that task with AI. So being able to go into this deal and combine that human review with AI extraction. So think of the AI getting you 90, maybe 95% of the way there, and you just have to do that last step of validating the data. Say that looks good. It is indeed a Sidley deal. I'm going to verify that. And we track which users in the firm are performing the verification. We enforce ethical walls, so you can enforce data segregation within your firm. So all of that is mapped to large law firm implementation. But that's the key here, is that we're able to accelerate a process and get this data out of the documents, allow you to export it into whatever format you need to export it. So if you want to send this to an experience management system that you have in the firm already, maybe you have a deal points database, we can perform that process of getting the data out, and then getting the data out of these documents, and then sending it out of Centari wherever it needs to live in the firm, the data hydration model.
And are you able to extract data from many documents at once?
We can. So we can do multi-document processing, both for across deals as well as within a single deal. You might have a closing binder that contains multiple documents that provide the context for the data point. So if you have a particular data point, and this comes up a lot when we work with firms on private funds or venture financings. So those are two deal types where you might have in the fund, you'll have the LPA, you'll have the subscription agreement, you'll have the PPM. The data points might come from all three of those agreements. We can extract from a set of documents to deliver these answers. And it might be a good moment for me to highlight that we build this in a very customized way for each firm that we work with. So no two firms we have found, no two firms are exactly the same in terms of which data points they want to track across which practice areas. And Centari is a cross-practice platform. So we can support private funds, we can support real estate. We've deployed this for leasing, JV agreement, and PSA agreements in the world of real estate. M&A, of course, credit agreements for finance. So the key here is that our extraction engine is very flexible, and the magic happens when we deploy this engine, the particular taxonomy that firm is tracking today. So the customization is really key for us to get a high level of performance for these firms. Got caught up in that thread there.
And
This is edited, right? So if I choke up for a second.
And how long does it take for you to deploy for a particular firm? So if you are setting it up individually for each firm and configuring the fields for each type of document, how long does one of those deployments or implementations take typically?
Yeah, so for a firm, I'd say the engine, the deep R&D that our team has done over the last year has resulted in an extraction engine that's very flexible and quickly deployable. The configuration for each firm, it's more of we view this as being partners with these firms in their data strategy. So we take a very research-oriented approach. We want to work very closely with the KM teams, with the practice innovation teams and IT teams to understand their use case, define their taxonomy. So which data points are we going to extract, which practice areas, sometimes on a partner by partner basis. They might have very opinionated views on how the answers should be structured. So this is all customized, and that can be done anywhere from a few days for the most basic deal types to maybe a couple of weeks if we're doing a full build out of the new taxonomy. But the model is very flexible. We perform accuracy benchmarking for every deployment. So we want firms to understand where the models are able to deliver consistently accurate extraction and where there's room for additional R&D. And that's really important because the system firms have to gain a high level of trust with their own end users to adopt these products. And we want to be very transparent with performance. And we're very happy with performance. Our accuracy scores for certain deal types are over 90 to 95%, which is really great and always getting better with newer, greater models. But we want firms to understand the lay of the land so they can use it with a high level of confidence.
That's out of the box, that 95% plus on many of them. And then where it falls slightly short of that, the firms are able to train or work with you in order to improve accuracy?
Exactly. So we have these feedback loops. So we don't do any model training with any customer data. Instead, what we do is more of an ongoing configuration and testing process. So we're always benchmarking. We're always wanting to understand where this can just get better and better for firms and automate more and more deal points. But I'd say that's where we view, and this is a classic example of a tool where you are augmenting in a complex attorney workflow with AI, maybe not fully replacing until we get to the world of the singularity where AI is able to manage us. But we think this gets firms very far for a fraction of the time and allows them to deploy their data at scale. And we've built our own native data navigation platform that we call Navigator. So I clicked into one of our taxonomies, this M&A taxonomy, and every deal that is processed through Centari within the firm is structured chronologically. So we think this is a really neat layout, solves that problem of not knowing. I remember something in 2019, I can't remember which deal that was. Oh, it was the Cisco deal. So this is a way to really see your deal history in a really neat format. We have a table view so you can compare deals side by side and slice and dice your data. So let's say you want to look at all the deals that we did across from, let's find one where there's multiple examples. So here, various firms. So where buyer's counsel was Wachtell, how do they negotiate these deal points? So you can start to slice and dice and gain competitive intelligence with your data and also see visualizations. So this is our data visualization platform. You can filter your deals by the extracted deal points. So this is where we're taking extracted structured information and using that to deliver competitive intelligence to end users. Both just want to filter by all cash deals or just want to see mixed cash and stock deals. So this is that way of really getting that rich data visualization in addition to the precedent search tool that you have here.
That's very cool. And so this is for, as you said, the M&A. You could do this for different practices, presumably, as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So different practices, and to highlight the use cases that we're seeing with firms, it's obviously really clean, easy way to search your precedent and hopefully solves that problem in a novel way, as well as benchmark what's market across from particular counterparties and start to gain that high level view. In some cases, firms would be using this for business development and marketing purposes, running these what's market reports and making this as part of their BD and marketing efforts, I think is really interesting. And then same with the library, that extraction platform, we can enforce ethical laws here as well, so that you don't have that visibility across teams that shouldn't have visibility, but it's really designed around the needs of each firm, as well as with the integration. So we can integrate with third-party platforms for data visualization as well if firms have this set up. We really just work with each customer on where this data would be most useful for them.
Fantastic. Immediately, the use cases I can see are considerable. The what's market for different practice areas, being able to slice and dice your data, the ability for firms to be able to pull past matters for pitches and proposals, as well as those graphics, the ability to hydrate experience and matter management systems with data. It's a really cool solution. And of course, just contract review on a more discrete level, I imagine, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I didn't highlight in this demo, but we are using this extraction engine for due diligence use cases as well. And I think our view is that the best AI models in the world, the most powerful models, are nothing without high quality data. And while we are not in the business of fine-tuning training models on customer data, we are in the business of giving our customers really high quality structured data sets that they can use for whatever purposes are valuable to them. So this model is, our whole engine that we built is designed for complex data extraction for elite firms, and allowing them to get their data out of these documents, structure it, and start to put it to work so they can be ready for what's next in the realm of AI. Really being ready for the data-driven legal practice, you have to start with structured data. We are helping firms prepare for the future that way.
Wonderful. Oh, and of course, extracting clauses to populate clause bases for drafting purposes and so on as well, I imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's part of it. And there's, so we think of the whole universe of data within a firm. We're primarily focused on transactional, and in which case clauses are a key piece of the knowledge base.
Wonderful. Kevin, thank you so much for showing this to us. For everyone who wants to know more, we will put some information down at the bottom of the screen. Kevin, thanks so much. It's really exciting what you're able to do.
Thanks, Nikki. Really appreciate the opportunity to share it.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks, everyone.